So content creation is a very like broad term. Like, did you know what your niche was and who you were speaking to, how specifically you were going to speak to them? Or did you just start doing stuff and then your audience found you and you discovered it? Like, yeah, so which way did it work? Did you know it first and then create from that? Or did you just start doing and then you're like, hey, everyone seems to be liking this type of stuff, so let me start focusing more on, you know, these types of things?
Yeah. I definitely think went the path of just doing it at first. Like I remember when I was chasing YouTube, like, and everything was all about DIYs and those oversaturated, like, girly things. And I'd be making like a frame and I'd be like, I hate this. I could just buy this. Why am I making this? But I was doing it because that was what was popular and like taking off on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then when I transitioned to TikTok, I spent a month in January. It was like my New Year's resolution, post every single day. And that was just a month of experimentation. So I was doing like the trends, I was doing the transitions, I was doing the cheesy lip syncs. I did not do the dances because I cannot dance, sorry. And then at the end, I did like a voiceover vlog, and not many people were doing that really at that time. And that's what took off. Like it got like 6 million views in like 24 hours.
Wow.
And I actually realized, okay, I love storytelling this way. And then that's kind of what helped transition my content. And then again, I grew my audience with mainly like comedy content. So I would do like scripted, a lot of stuff making fun of the pandemic and Corona and all that. Remember when we called it Corona?
We
COVID,
did call
yeah.
it Corona.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
we
to
just
that.
shortened it.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. I don't want to shout nothing out from that era.
Yeah,
No.
we want to keep that in the past.
Yeah,
we want to close that chapter.
Yeah. Closed for good.
But yeah, and again, like figuring out like what your niche is and like what I'm supposed to put out is like I think a monthly kind of crisis that I deal with. I'm like, who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
So
I'm still stuck. I mean,
I don't think anyone ever figures
who
it
shouts out Corona, bro?
Shout out COVID.
That's crazy, bro. That's a no. But
we rebuke that.
no, I shed that off in Jesus' name. But I love this because there's so many folks that want to be a content creator, especially this new generation of kids, and they don't realize that everything good takes time. They just don't know that. They just think like, oh, I just did like 20 videos. Why am I not like famous? It's like, bro. Like you just picked up your phone. Like this is gonna, because the fact that you said it took 6 years to find your way, like that is incredible, because it wasn't about and I like the way you framed it, and I'm sure it got deeper in meaning as you started to like know God every year, I'm sure. But you framed it where God had this for me, so I'm just gonna do this. I love that. Because like what happens is usually, and I am like calling myself out, is like I'll do things and go, bless me, God, right? Like I'm not even asking him, I'm just doing things.
Yeah.
And I think just the whole framework of that is even more beautiful, that in these 6 years in your journey, that this is where you are today. And in this new season 2, imagine what this new like rewiring is, or this new foundation that he's setting up. It's just really exciting.
Yeah. A quote that I heard from my pastor in Toronto that always kept me going is, sometimes God takes a really long time to move all of a sudden.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And
That's
so
a good one.
even with my career, that's what happened. It took 6 years to get to that point. But then once TikTok like took off, or my videos started taking off, like it happened all of a sudden, you know?
I'm feeling that.
I would say, I mean, that's just, you got to put up the reps. You know, there's no shortcut to greatness. Like if you got to train when no one's watching. I mean, it's, you know, like along with that, it's like what you do in the dark, you know, repeatedly will get exposed in the light. But you know what I mean? It's like what no one's watching you do, you know, when you get that right opportunity, it's like, cool, that's all you needed was that opportunity. But without all the work that you had put in, it's not going to show for anything. I mean, even clips that go viral, virality is almost kind of by chance, but like, can you do that repeated? And if you know how to do that, that means you have a skill that you've sort of like sharpened and exercised. So, you know, as you are here now, you're taking your time to kind of get acquainted to, you know, just like gaining your community, you know, setting up your life out here, and you're kind of like waiting for that right opportunity to kind of get back into it, I guess. Do you have a different mentality in how you want to, or is it kind of same formula, just kind of new city? What are your thoughts, and like where's your heart at now with how you want to get back into it when you do?
Yeah. So funny enough, like right before I moved, I got so burnt out that I even like experienced depression for the first time and stuff like that. So it's crazy. When I was making no money and like, yeah, like not doing my dream job, I was so at peace and I never had any mental health issues. And then once I got that success, that was when the mental health issues came. So
Whoa.
like the money came, but so did,
Right.
depression and anxiety. Yeah.
More money, more problems.
Yeah.
Right? Biggie said it best.
But yeah, so honestly, like when I came, I was ready to like even quit content creation. I was like, God, I'm ready to try something different. Like, should I become a voice actress? Like, but then I went to a Bethel conference with Lindsay, and through that and through like prophetic words, God's like, nope, this is still what I want you to do. Like, you have a voice, you need to use it. It needs to be heard. And so I've been doing also the artist way right now. And I think my goal is to just like co-create with God, because I think as humans, we all just tend to strive and try to do things on our own. But God's just like you said, be still, surrender, and allow me to move.
Yeah.
And so there's a really great video that I watched. Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, he talked about his transition from Hollywood to creating The Chosen series. And he's like, I gave up like, this amazing like career that in the world is like, that is the best. Why would you leave that to create this like Jesus series? And he just felt, and he was also like having that anxiety of like, what if no one sees it? What if we don't get money and funding? Like, how is this going to work? And God was like, it's your job to provide the bread and the loaves of bread and the fish, and I will like feed as many people as I wish. So that's something that I always try to remember when I create content, and like it helps to take the pressure off of it performing well or getting this many views. And so something I actually recently did is I created a brand new TikTok account. So I'm starting with 0 followers. This one's very niche. So I'm focusing on my dating journey here in LA. I'm intentionally dating for the first time ever at 31 years old.
Okay.
So I posted my first video yesterday. And again, with 0 followers, it got like 6,000 views. And that I know is all God, right? Like there's no reason it should have gotten that much, which is kind of crazy. Like sometimes my own 500K account, it's been struggling with the algorithm, mainly because it's still like attached to Canada and I'm in the US. So it's very confused about who to feed my videos to. But I've been getting like all-time views on that account, which usually would make me cry and make me depressed and make me like second guess my worth. But I'm like, honestly, it's my job to just show up and be obedient to what God has called me to do, which is to use my voice, share my content. And the views are really just like up to him.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, with that, I mean, that's a very tough thing to honestly say. Meaning, if you put something out and it gets 0 likes, you're going to think something. You're going to feel something. You're not going to be like, I don't care, whatever. I'm just going to do it again tomorrow. It's going to affect you. And the fact that it affects you is not bad. It's not wrong. You know what I mean? I think we're all wired to, want that affirmation from people, right? And especially when the whole quote unquote success of digital output is how people engage with it. If enough people engage with it, it is deemed successful. If not enough people engage with it, it's like you're not really, it's not quote unquote successful. So for somebody who, you do this as a career, and also I would imagine there's something that you enjoy about doing it too. You're not doing it just like, oh, this is my job, I have to. I'm sure that you like it, it's honest, and that's why people connect with it, because there's such like honesty behind it. But how do you deal with the times where it's not the hit that you had hoped for, and you might even be tempted to call it a miss? How do you deal with those times?
I think it's all about like reframing it. And what I always do is I try to remember like actors and actresses, and they spend hours, sometimes days, preparing for an audition that 3 people see, right? Maybe, or whatever. And then they usually get rejected and move on. And then it's like that's their process. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm spending hours on a video and maybe only 1,000 people see it. I try to also like imagine 1,000's like an entire movie theater, right? Or you think about teachers who spend hours preparing lesson plans for like 30 students. So you're right. I think it's like we have this crazy, like the online world has kind of skewed our perception of like the amount of people who view our content, if that makes sense, right? So that's what I try to do to kind of like bring me back into like reality, because reality
Sure.
is 1,000 people is still a lot, whether that's a flop or not for me, right? And even like people who get like 200 views and they're just starting, like that's still 200 people. That's insane, right?
Sure. I'm like listening to you, just like thinking about my own journey in content creation, because like because we've known each other through a Bible study on Monday nights, right? So even the folks in that room, they just know me as like someone that's in business, because that is who I am. I do have different businesses and whatnot, but I'm just like listening to all this and I'm just thinking, man, like, because I've been struggling to figure out personally what to do with my content. And the thing is, I used to create food content, and I have this page. It's like 50,000, and I don't really do anything with it anymore because I don't want to make food content the way I used to, which is just like, it was kind of like a music video of me eating. That's like the only way to explain it. But like, that's pretty much what it was, and these really short form videos. And that is what it is. And then I figured out what to do with my Instagram, which is basically a way to mix my audiences. That's what I use my Instagram for. So Good Service Podcast for me serves a great purpose, which is look at me for all my brands, and then I'm going to collab post it. And then you're going to come to my home page and you're going to see Good Service Podcast. So they're going to learn, oh, this guy that does all this business is a Christian, like he loves God. So I figured that out, and I feel really good about it. Actually, I'm like, yes, right? But my TikTok is just there, and it's different because the algorithm works differently. And I've been really struggling figuring out, like, because I know I have a voice. I know it because maybe I'm not supposed to use it for media. Maybe, I thought about that a few times, but here I am on this podcast using my voice in a different way as well. And then also wondering, like, am I supposed to use it more? Am I supposed to do more, try to bring more? Because I'm just trying to like do whatever God wants me to do. So like wherever the work is, like pay attention and listen. So while you were explaining all this stuff, I started like just thinking about so many things. Like it was crazy, but it's very inspiring to just hear where the journey is, how it works. And and I hope that some of the listeners that are just looking at their numbers all the time to just like knock it off. Like that's not what this is. It's really about the purpose of what you're doing, and why that purpose is. I mean, for us, purpose is God, but whatever purpose their stage of journey they're on, that's really what it's about. So I think I really do appreciate like just the inside behind the scenes.
Remembering that like even Jesus would leave like for the one, right? So even if just one person is affected by your content in a positive way, then that's what matters, right?
Yeah. Folks, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Good Service. If you haven't already, make sure you go on to our Patreon, subscribe. We have all kinds of exclusive content on there that is only going to be on our Patreon, not anywhere else. We have extended episodes. We got one-on-one convos between us. We have Q&As that we're answering from you guys, and a whole lot more. We're going to keep developing and keep bringing on new, fresh content.
We're going to ask Naomi what to do.
We're going to ask her for all the hacks and pro tips. Thank you guys. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. We out. Good service.